What's going on, everyone? So, this upcoming offseason, it is very likely Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to get traded. Even the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks said, like, hey, look, it's simple. He either signs an extension or he's getting traded. We're not going to run the risk of losing him for nothing in the offseason. And, you have to. Player of his caliber, you cannot run the risk of him just walking and you losing him for nothing, especially when you were offered pretty decent packages, right? Like reports came out that the Warriors offered 4 unprotected firsts for Giannis Antetokounmpo and they turned it down, right? Like you had a chance to get 4 unprotected firsts from the Warriors and you said no, and then you just lost Giannis for nothing, right? Like people need to be fired. That's going to be a disaster. Like I think most Milwaukee fans, if not all of them, are like, hey, it's time to go. But if you just lose Giannis for nothing, that's a real quick way to get the fan base to turn on you. I think the fan base would be on board because everybody sees the writing on the wall. It's getting ridiculous at this point. Both parties, somebody needs to be an adult in that room and go, all right, it's time to depart, right? We love each other. We had a great run, some magical moments, some magical memories, but it's time to move on. We got to stop playing this game. Right? And somebody needs to, again, be that grown up in the room. If Giannis doesn't want to do it, then somebody in that organization needs to do it. The owner, whomever, you got to cut your loss. But there was a report from Ramona Shelburne on 2 teams and 2 targets in particular that the Milwaukee Bucks are kind of eyeing. The Milwaukee Bucks want in a potential Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, right? Because look, they're going to have to reset. They're going to have to rebuild, and they're not flushed with assets. They don't really own their own picks. So you need as much young talent as possible. You need guys that, you don't need the draft picks because you got the guys, you got your foundation blocks already. Now it's just growing and developing those guys over the next few years, maybe kind of expedite this process a year or 2 sooner than otherwise. But according to Ramona Shelburne, the Bucks reportedly want VJ Edgecombe from the Philadelphia 76ers and Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The players the Bucks did seem interested in were young building blocks such as VJ Edgecombe of the Philadelphia 76ers and Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers, sources said. So again, it's kind of, there's been questions of like, okay, what is it going to take to land somebody like Giannis Antetokounmpo? And it's likely going to be an insane package, an insane haul. I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest players ever to be available, right? Like, for a trade, right? Like, and so the fact that Giannis could go for the greatest return ever potentially. So you're talking multiple first round picks, likely multiple young players and guys. But the thing is too, it's also a weird spot because Giannis isn't going to want to go to a team that is bad. And it's like, oh, now you traded all your players and picks. And you got to keep in mind, Giannis is going to have some say here, right? Because again, he's in a contract year. So, if he doesn't want to go to Philadelphia, right, then guess what? He's not going to Philadelphia because Philadelphia, Daryl Morey isn't going to sell the farm to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo just for Giannis Antetokounmpo to leave. Daryl Morey will sell the farm in a heartbeat to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo, but not unless he knows he's going to and be willing to sign an extension. Now, the other problem is on paper, the Philadelphia 76ers would be the greatest team ever assembled, right? Like Paul George, right? Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo as your front court is like the greatest front court ever assembled in the history of basketball. But then you look at the reality and Paul George is washed and can't stay healthy. Joel Embiid is washed and can't stay healthy. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, I mean, he's kind of not trending to the washed area, but as far as like the injury concerns, the injury history, right? Which is another thing that could end up playing a factor. So you just you look at that, it's like, man, like on paper, that would be ridiculous, right? But in reality, would that really be good enough is the question. The Cavs actually make a lot of sense, right? You put a package together for Evan Mobley. You got James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It could be tough, right? Like again, fit would be a real question. Fit would be a real thing. But if you can kind of work and figure that out, that could make for an interesting kind of team and roster. Especially if you can keep a Jalen Tyson. Right now, there's another kind of your core and foundation right there. You're probably trading Jared Allen in that trade, most likely to a third team. So again, there's some possibilities and some explorations there that could make some interesting sense. But again, Giannis is going to have a ton of say. Giannis is going to have a ton of potential in what they want to do. If you're the 76ers, I don't think you can trade for Giannis. I don't. Joel Embiid and Paul George are just too unhealthy. Right? Like if you could rely on one of them at least, like let's say Paul George has been super healthy and he looks like Paul George. Right? That elite two-way guy. It's like, okay, there's an argument. It's like, I mean, at worst, you got Paul George and Giannis Antetokounmpo, which that duo by themselves could be pretty good in the Eastern Conference. And then you're hoping that you can get Joel Embiid right and healthy, at least come playoff time. So like those three, you might be able to win a championship with. But again, your two other stars wouldn't be worth it. And also, you probably would have to get off of Paul George in order to do that. And if you're the Bucks, why in the world would you want Paul George in that contract, right? So, again, it's a tough spot for the 76ers. And then, like they said, the Cavs making it are an interesting case because if the Cavs, say, fizzle out again early in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell, there's already talks about him potentially departing. You don't want to lose him. The way you might be able to keep him and get him to sign a new extension is to go land Giannis and kind of keep both of them long term. Right now, it's like, okay, we got Donovan Mitchell and Giannis to kind of work around. James Harden re-signed to a new deal. Kind of figure it out from there. Right? It's like, man, you got James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You'd probably have to solve your center position, but like you figure it out, right? Like, so Cavs, I do think make for an interesting case depending on what happens this season, right? Evan Mobley also hasn't been quite as good for them this year. He's also kind of had some injury issues and stuff like that. It's like, so if both guys are going to have injury issues, I'd rather have Giannis than Evan Mobley, right? So to me, it's just like, there's some sense to be made in Cleveland. Sixers don't really make sense either way. Like if I was Giannis and I could actually get to the Sixers, and Joel Embiid and Paul George were healthy and proven healthy, I mean, you can make an argument that's the best place for him to go, right? Because Joel Embiid could spread the floor. I mean, Joel Embiid, his versatility. I mean, again, that'd be arguably the greatest front court ever assembled on paper, right? Like since on paper, what like Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, and Hakeem, right? Like that, outside of that, it's like it's probably that. But it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me lots. We enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.